Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you all so very much for joining in today. I really appreciate it. I apologize from the most sincerest place for the technical difficulties we were experiencing. I have been trying to figure out a better approach to launching all of these lives at one time. I'm probably going to have to start maybe a whole hour early to avoid this in the future. But I thank you all for taking the time and being patient with me as we figure this all out. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and jump into the reason for this lovely occasion, why we are here. The name or the title of this series, this recurring series, we had our first series launch last week, but the name of this recurring series is Real Talks with Locs, Identify, Measure, and Respond. So what is Real Talks with Locs? So this is basically a segue to the call or a call of action. We gather here once every 2 weeks to have real conversations with real people about real issues that we're facing. And this series is brought to you by my nonprofit organization. We Have Us, which is a social development and empowerment organization with a primary focus on empowering those who need it the most. One of the things that we believe in wholeheartedly is liberation through education. And we do believe that oppression is a state of mind that is enforced by systematic chains. And the only way to break those chains is to empower people through education and liberate people through education. And so each week we're going to have different individuals who represent a nonprofit or who have a strong voice about the issues that we're covering. We're going to have different individuals come in and join us in this conversation. So today's topic is repairing our homes. Okay, so that is a topic. So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be identifying the breakdown in the minority home. We will then measure the impact, and from that, we will respond with solutions. And then from that, we have us corporation, domestic nonprofit corporation, we will then carry those out and manifest those responses into action, action that will be applied to the community. So, you know, all of this is coming full circle to again repair what is broken, no matter what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves. I think there are, how many people on here? 3 people. I think we're missing Fatima. So wherever Fatima is, she needs to go ahead and join the conversation. We are looking for you to come on. All right. So the first person we have is Dr. Tracy Jones Sallyfu. She's my mother, by the way. So we have Dr. Tracy Jones Sallyfu, who's going to introduce herself and then why she chose to join in on this conversation. So you all may notice that previously we had another individual, their nonprofit, who was supposed to be joining in on the conversation. Unfortunately, that we weren't able to continue on in that partnership for other reasons. But we do wish them the very best in what they're doing for the community. So now we would like to go ahead and have Dr. Tracy Jones Sallyfu introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I think you've already introduced me, right?
Well, yeah, well, go introduce yourself. Introduce more of yourself.
My name is Dr. Tracy Jones Sallyfu. Kind of long name there. Um, you want me to explain why I chose to join?
Yes, this conversation.
I chose to join this conversation because it seems to have a positive impact on the projected goal for communities who are deprived or who are in poverty, the social economic status and demographics reach poverty, and it seems to be a wonderful segue or um, it's, I would say something that would definitely benefit the African American community and other cultures. And so I wanted to make sure I joined today because I love the topic of mental health. I got a chance to listen to um, what is it called again, Tim? You know I'm not so technology
It's
savvy.
okay. The original, the first live podcast, Zoomcast live stream. Yes,
Yes,
yes. Mm-hmm.
the original podcast that really just took my attention, and I just couldn't. I wanted to, exit out, but the information that was being shared by someone who has been impacted by mental illness, shared her truth, her story, shared her truth, and I believe that it's an awesome platform where she can receive help at the same time, help others maybe also impacted by mental health.
Thank you, thank you, and I thank you so very much, you beautiful, lovely, brown skin queen, lovely mother of mine, the most important person in my life that's living outside of Yahweh. So thank you so much for joining this conversation. I appreciate you, beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, Yaru, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Kings and queens.
If you could come up, if you could show your face just for a moment. You don't have to stay on this too long. Just let everybody see your face.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Trying to get formally dressed so I can.
Okay.
Actually, but presentable.
Okay.
Without further ado, my name is Yaru, which is friend of Yahweh. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. My my main focus right now is working with nonprofits, and I have two businesses. My businesses really focus on and zero in on the inner city youth and everything that they do, providing them with the tools and necessary things that they need to have a better living situation. Anything that helps them propel them into their dreams and goals, which is also a charter school, which I have shared it with the founder of the charter school. Hopefully, she can come in, take a seat in, and listen, and maybe join the conversation. The charter school is for inner city youth children who do not do the standard issue or standard guidelines or go by the standard guidelines of the way they teach the classes, teach the school, teach the children in the system. So it's run on an accelerated school system, and the way they do it is they run through everything. So fortunately enough, and a lot of the children, by the time they hit fifth grade, they are pretty much on a high school level. They have 100% acceptance rate into Ivy League colleges as of today. These are children who are coming from very deplorable situations. Some have no parents. Some have been through various amounts of abuse. That background right now for me to accelerate more into that, I have a double major in business management, accounting, as well as psychology. Finishing up my master's in psych. I'm also the HR in a mental psychiatric hospital for children. Also work with the juvenile system, correctional facility for the youth. And right now, I'm just currently working with small subsidiary school systems and businesses, charter schools, to help launch their children to a better school system. So glad to be here. I met the host here on another application I share on the internet, and I'm glad that she invited me here. So I invited some people here. Hopefully they can come through also. So without further ado, I'll hand it back over to the host.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate your wonderful introduction. There are a few other people who are going to be coming in as we're here. Fatima, are you available to speak right now, or do you need a moment? bear with me just
Just getting ready to speak. She was trying to get to a section where you would hear that.
Okay, I got you. I really, I mean, I don't know why she didn't join this conversation. Okay. All right. So the next person, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am Chioma as the BK. Some people call me Yashira Locs. And I'm the host, and I'll be your host for Real Talks with Locs. Why I found it necessary to have this conversation, I think this is one of those conversations that is definitely needed in order to take us through the path of, again, liberating our minds, bringing awareness to issues. I think conversation goes further than what we give it credit for. Conversation is healing. Conversation is growing. Conversation is beginning to things that are new. And so I think that as long as we continue having these conversations and as long as we are continually, keeping these issues in the face of people so that it's not so easily dismissed. I think in the history of our, you know, in the history of our history, let's just say that in the history of our history, we have a tendency, or what I have seen is a tendency to, speak about issues while they're big, but not continue on that conversation so that we can hold ourselves accountable for the things that we have recognized. And so our main goal is to hold ourselves accountable for these conversations. We don't have these conversations just to sound philosophical. We don't have these conversations so that we can be the smartest person in the room and say the most compelling words and make the most compelling quotes for us not to actually implement these things into something that is actually changing. We have to do more than just marching. We have to do more than just having a voice. What is the call to action? And so this is just again the segue to the call of action. So I know that a few individuals do need to leave early. Again, this is quite a long conversation. So I am going to go ahead and give Dr. Sally Fu an opportunity to speak her piece regarding this. Again, we are speaking about repairing our homes. And again, we're exploring the breakdown of the minority home. We are then providing or measuring that. So measuring the impact of what we have identified as potential breakdowns. And then we are going to then provide a solution. So maybe in the way you respond to the question, keep those in mind. And, it is a good idea to kind of point out where you are actually referencing. Are you identifying? Are you measuring? Or are you providing a response? So I will go ahead and pass the floor over to Dr. Sally Fu, and then as everyone else comes in, we will give them an opportunity to not only introduce themselves, but also speak their piece. So, yes.
Okay, I wanted to share a little information regarding parents who to the school. So therefore, they may feel intimidated or be afraid to ask for support. Even at the same time, it may be an impact that may have touched them when they were in school. They did not feel comfortable in school. They felt intimidated by the educators in the school. So therefore, they choose not to come into the school, or if they do come into the school, they don't receive that welcome. So I know that is definitely something that I've had an opportunity to speak to parents concerning, and we just have to change our. I guess what I'm basically trying to say is that the school system is moving more toward more of a customer service type relationship, so that the parents won't feel that intimidation and not feel that, oh, I have to look this way when I come into the school, or I have to look that way. But of course, we do want the parents to come in, adequately dressed when they come into the school, because again, we know that the students see that, and then they want to become that dress in that way. But that's neither here nor there. But the most important thing that I'm seeing is that parents are feeling very intimidated based on the work that's coming home, and they are not able to support or assist their child in completing their homework or even checking the homework to see if it's correct. So I just wanted to share some one thing that could definitely um, address that concern. If you would like for me to share that now, or
Yes.
that's the topic that I want. So in every district, there's reform that is taking place, which means that they're having to revamp the entire um, education system, curriculum, school-wide concerns. And so, with that being said, based on the reform that is taking place, there should be a parent liaison in each school. And what that parent liaison is just like the word says, they are the go-between between the school and home. And so, with that being said, the parent liaison is the one that takes a temperature or a survey of what are the needs of the community, the needs of parents. And one of the things that we've seen, again, is why I brought up that issue is parents need support in receiving, I guess you can see some training in how they can support their child with the current curriculum. And as I heard Mr. Yaru, I'm sorry, can you say
Yaru.
Is y'all?
Yaru.
Yaru.
Okay, Mr. Yaru. I can see that based on what you stated is that the school, which is most of the charter schools, and they are on a different pathway as far as the curriculum is concerned. Not as far as the curriculum is concerned, but how we attack that curriculum, or how we, when I say attack, I mean how do we approach, or what strategy are we going to use to help those students learn? And most charter schools, they are on a more of aggressive pathway, meaning that a child who is in kindergarten is really doing work, as he said, at the level of, and I'm saying not grade equivalent, but instructional level. Instructional level basically means where the child really is, where has the child been assessed, and what does that data show, or what does that diagnostic say? Basically, that child is on an instructional level of a kindergarten. But grade equivalent basically tells us that this child is in second grade. They are on they're learning information and standards based on a second grade student. And so I guess what I'm really trying to add to the plate is that we can have the parent liaison get in touch. Every parent should be able to get in touch with the parent liaison and inform that parent, this is some of the things that I'm struggling with. Can you all have a training class on multiplying, which is basically repeated addition? Can you have a training set in the school on, or right now, based on the pandemic, we'll say Zoom as one of the platforms that can be used? Can we have a training on phonics? Can we have a training on comprehension? How do we read? How can I support my child in reading fluently? Or can I? Is there a lesson that I can have on building my child's vocabulary? So that's all the parent has to do is get in touch with the parent liaison, and then have a parent liaison schedule a training, have someone, educate a teacher or whoever they would want to use, will come in and train the parents, and it would not just overnight or one time. It would be an ongoing thing, an ongoing training. So that's the first step for parents. That's the first step for parents in the community to reach out to their school's parent liaison.
Okay. That's actually very valuable information. I know we're gonna be speaking from the perspective of here in Atlanta. Do all schools in Atlanta have that type of resource, a parent liaison? And if not, how does a community of parents, or how do a community of parents request that?
Okay, so every school in Atlanta, public schools, actually, I can say, and I know in other counties as well, that there is, because of the reform that took place some years ago, those positions are now in place. And so they can contact each school's parent liaison. In addition to that, also the parent PTA. And in addition to that, as we have in Atlanta public school systems, we have also what we call a GO team, which is a governance of that community. And basically, that governance team, they meet once a month, and they approach information, or they attack information, or they are discussing how can we better improve the school itself. What are some of the resources that are available at the school level? We also, it's just like you would have a school board,
Mm-hmm.
board of education. There is also a board of a school governance team for each school. And so we should make sure we reach out to those, the GO team,
Mm-hmm.
the parent, the PTA, and definitely parent liaisons, who would definitely be the ones that would begin to organize basically the needs of the community. And it's such an easy task, but I just don't know if parents are aware of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
do you feel like, because I know that you're down south and I'm up north, the way I hear what you're saying, and I think that's very instrumental. However, me coming from the north and moving down south, when I moved down there, unfortunately, the statistics from Pittsburgh is that we are the worst city for anyone who is melanated or of color. We have the lowest test scores in the states, in any state, comparable to any state. When I moved down there in my 12th grade year, I was maintaining maybe a BC average up here. In my main course is probably like an AB. When I moved to Atlanta, they put me in 9th grade.
Oh, so you skipped some grades.
No, I was in 12th grade.
Oh, you were in 12th grade?
I was in 12th grade up here. I was in right grade up here. I was 18 years old in 12th grade. Just turned 18, 17 or 18, 12th grade. Ready to finish high school. When I moved down there, they put me in the 9th grade.
Wow.
What was the reason for that? What did they tell your parents?
Because I was so behind on what they were learning that I have not even learned that yet. By the time when I moved down there to Georgia, I didn't even learn geometry yet, and I was in 12th grade. We were learning geometry in 12th grade here, up here in the north. So we're so behind in our school system that these children are barely getting the necessities that we need. And I understand how you're saying, the household, starts at home, how the parents, but a lot of issues up here, especially up here, is the fact that I think it would be more or less geographical, because I feel like when I came down south, it was more or less family was first.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's really, regardless of what the statistics say and everything else like that, I seen for myself, my own 2 eyes, felt the vibe that a lot of us and a lot of the people down south have a family goal-oriented household. You know what I mean? Even if some of them, some of them have some cases where they don't. However, when it comes to the school system and learning, like it's a thing to go to college down south. You know what I mean? It's a thing. At least even go to a community college. Up here, we don't go to community colleges. We don't go to college at all. And so that's why I say it's kind of like the mothers and fathers up here don't want to be involved at all.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you say to those children whose parents don't want to be involved? Because like the charter school that I was talking about that I'm involved in, these children don't have, like, for instance, one little girl, her dad's in jail, her mom just went to jail. You know what I mean? It's going to be in there. Unfortunately, will be incarcerated for a couple years. She has nobody to take her. You know what I mean? So, like, the school system, like, the charter school, the founder and co-founder, a couple of the admins, we're trying to get together to adopt her. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a battlefield. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you propose that we do if, for those who don't have parents, or parents just don't care?
Well, the most important thing I would say to start figuring out is having a mentorship. Mentorship. I mean, that's big in different counties here, in Georgia is mentoring, figuring out how can I mentor a child. And I would gather a group of people together. And we would definitely, if you can't do it in the school setting, maybe at the local YMCA, and have them come in and somewhere after school that they can go and have those mentors just be dedicated and determined and persevere in making sure that they create a program where the children can come to this location. And and for any age child, are you asking, sir? Are you asking for any age child? Or?
Yeah, it could be any age. You know what I mean? Any age.
And just to start some type of mentorship program, because that's something that we do here. And there are many children who parents are they're living with their grandparents.
Right.
The grandparents, the parents of the individual who bore the child. They're having to be mothers and fathers all over again.
Right.
Yes, and so, but nevertheless, we're not going to let that stop us. But we definitely need to figure out a way. How can we start some type of mentorship? And I have seen students who have made drastic change, significant change in their behavior because they know that they have someone that cares for them and that's looking out for them. And so, if you can start that process, and if you can get into the school itself, maybe charter schools they don't have to have to adhere to so many different policies as you would in the public school setting.
Right.
So that would be very good if you have access to a charter school, or if you're going to, be a volunteer at a charter school, or whatever capacity you're going to serve there, just to start that. And in my school, every educator has to mentor a child. And there's a day that's been set aside that we would take maybe 30 minutes to an hour and meet with those students. And we look at the same talking points. The first thing we want to know is, how are you doing today? Because you don't know what they may have experienced at home, between home, riding the school bus, and then entering into the school. So we want to make sure that we provide that child with not just gifts, or physical or things or materialistic things that they need, but also we give them our time, and we are truly. It's very, very important, and I want to go ahead and give a quote that I use all the time because it's so important and it changed my life, really. And basically says, you cannot teach the child unless you first know the child. You cannot teach the child unless you first love the child. You cannot teach the child until you first put aside your sexism, racism, and excess baggage. You can only teach the child once you know and love the child. So, with that being said, I'm saying that, we can't bring our problems or things to the table and judge the child that way. Put aside all of that. Put aside everything that's causing you to say, I don't want to teach that child. I don't want to mentor that child because they fail. No, put aside, because you don't know where and how they're living. You don't know that they come to school every day hungry, and then some of them have to sleep on the floor to avoid bullets coming into their home.
Right, you're right. Definitely right. Yeah, so it's like I think that's a big step, because like you say, a lot of children who are in the charter school that I deal with, a lot of them live, in a project setting, geographical project setting, and they don't have the opportunities given, that normal people. A lot of the children, 42% of children, by the time they hit 9th grade, are dropping out of school. So,
I have a question.
Having the 31, 32% graduation rate in this city here, with mostly being women, is very, 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 very detrimental to our community. And I think the mentorship is great. However, having someone, not to be long-winded, however,
I would like to interject and say something too, by the way.
Go
Yeah. So before, because I want to get us, I don't want to skip over something that you said earlier. I think it's very important that we focus in on it, because remember, we're not just here to have a conversation. We're here to create solutions. So there was something that you mentioned about parents not caring. Now, I just want to address that. Um, how does one come to the conclusion that a parent doesn't care? Just because a parent isn't there doesn't mean they don't care, is what I'm basically saying. Sometimes people don't respond to things if they're not aware of things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, what actions are in place, or have you explored to identify whether or not it's actually the parents not caring, or if they don't even know how to care. Because see,
if they feel intimidated,
yeah, or if they feel intimidated
or scared to come up to the
or
school,
scared,
they are not equipped with the knowledge that they think someone expects them to have when they walk into that building. Are they afraid that, that they're going to be looked at as indifferent, or as you said, a parent who is not involved?
Yeah.
I believe, and what I have been seeing, Chioma, is that the parents want to be involved.
Yeah.
Really do, but they are just afraid, and they don't know where to start. And so therefore, that's why I stated that they can start with their parent liaison to get support. At my school, we received some partners who basically started a kitchen. Not a kitchen, but an area where food is stored.
Gotcha.
A pantry. The pantry was built. We had them. They said, "What do you need for us to do?" We said, "Come on, we would love for you to build a pantry."
Okay.
So that'll be a place where parents are not having any food that day. They can come there and receive some food. And if students, we have also an area where the clothing, we have stored clothing. People who have volunteered or who have donated clothing, shoes. Just want to make sure that we support them in every way possible, not just financially, not just monetarily, but with, and one more thing, and we also have what we call wraparound services. Wraparound services is basically a psychological clinicians who have partnered with the school district for each cluster. And if a child is struggling with, parents having to go, as young men said, some are on the way to jail, okay, then that child can be referred for outside, that child can be referred to our wraparound program. It's dealing with the whole child. So that's just my take on that.
Yes, I also want to respond to something that LaShondra Cameron posted in the chat. I think it's easy to say they don't care instead of getting to the root of the problem, and that's one of the things that I also agree on. I think that too often we forget that within our communities, within minority communities, we lack trust for one another. We don't trust one another, and we don't trust other people either, to be quite honest. Because I can tell you, they may not come up there because they don't feel like you care about their child anyway. That can be a reason why. So I think that it's going to take more than just, I think it's a community effort, because everything that heals has to heal from the inside out. And healing does not mean just address one issue. You have to address the whole person. Okay, because it's not just not being involved in school, it's also no one having at least the tools or the resources to present it to their parents. So it's generational things. These are things that don't just come up in one generation. These are things that have been growing. These are issues that have been growing and growing generation after generation. So yeah, passed down. So I think that it's just too easy to write it off as a parent doesn't care. I really do, because if your parents can remember to tell you to come in when the street lights come off, they do care. They do care. If they can tell you to make sure you get in this house before the street lights are on, they do care. They may not be involved with the education, because maybe, like my mother said, they may lack. They may be nervous. They may be fear. Fear is a strong weapon. Fear is a weapon that has been used for years, generations and years. Since the beginning of time, fear has been the biggest enemy. You know, that is the reason why people are able to, this is the reason why people are oppressed, because of fear. It takes fear to be oppressed. One thing I always say, the oppressor cannot oppress the oppressed without the oppressed being the oppressed. So it's all within ourselves. You know, it's something that we're actually, when we really, if you really get to a level of being able to just analyze a situation, we actually have the power to break those chains within us, you know.
And to basically to empower
Yes.
our families. What
Yes.
can we do to empower our community?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, because think about it, you guys. This is just think about it even further. When did the crack epidemic happen? Was it the 1980s or something? Was it the 80s or was it the 70s where the big crack epidemic started? So a lot of people, the 70s, yeah, thank you, the 70s. So a lot of adults are products of that, of parent, so of that era. We have to remember that there are so many parents that are products of that time. And so they just don't have the tools. I mean, they just don't have the tools. So I believe it's going to require us going into the communities. We have something, we have us, we're going to be going into the projects here around Atlanta. So if you see us in your neighborhood, it's for a purpose. We're going to be going into neighborhoods. We're going to be passing out pamphlets. We're going to be passing out information. We're offering tutoring for parents. If a parent is fearful to go to the school, we will offer tutoring to the parents. If your child has an advanced algebra or advanced or basic algebra question or topic that they're going over and you can't afford tutoring, just reach out to us. We'll sit down with you. We'll work on the problem. We'll identify where you are, what you know, what you need to know. We'll build on those skills to give you the skills to empower your child. It's all about community involvement in the home. Going back to the breakdown in the minority home and why, again, everything starts with family. One thing that I did hear you mention, Yaru, when you were speaking, it was about family, how family is really big here in the South. Even if we go, again, I'm always, for the most part, I'm going to speak from a spiritual standpoint, because first and foremost, I was led by Yahweh to do all of these things that I'm doing. So I'm always going to speak from a spiritual perspective. It's not to push my beliefs on anyone, but I can only speak from my perspective and what worked and how I live my life. Even the Bible speaks about family. And if you analyze any society where oppression exists, the way the oppressor has been able to oppress the oppressed is by breaking up the family construct. If separation, when you separate someone, that is how you divide and conquer. So that's ultimately what, it doesn't matter in any, it's just not a black and white thing. Oppression is a every race thing. It is something that plagues all societies. But if you look at how that has been able to happen, it has been through dividing and conquer. That's it. That's the first step, dividing and conquer. So it makes sense what you're saying. So if we go down and we do even deeper research and look at areas, whether it's black or white, who have the most separation of the homes, that's probably where you'll find that's probably where we'll figure out a lot of our issues and how to combat those, and then how do we repair those homes. So to me, moving the conversation along to measuring and repairing or responding, how do we create value? How do we recreate value of family? How can we do that? What can we do as a people to
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, go ahead.
I just want to know if Miss Fatima has something to say.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to leave her out.
Okay.
I wanted to hear her take on this.
Yes.
Miss Fatima, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
That's my sister, by the way.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm good. Um, I don't know much about the system and stuff like that. I know a little bit of what my mom was talking about from what I hear her when she's in her office. But from what I see in school and from what I know is that like my mom and my sister was saying, there's a lot of parents who care, but they don't know how to go up to the teacher or up to the office and tell them what's going on or how to get help. But like what my mom was saying, my school also has that. Sometimes I do see them getting help. From what my mom is saying, they get good help, like having clothes. Sometimes we have that, and just providing some things for the parents to come off and have a welcoming, type of energy. Because a lot of people from the system, especially the school, a lot of people at my school, my principal, all he sees is ghetto, and all he sees is bad. Oh, I'm finna take them out. I'm finna suspend them. I'm finna take them to Perry, and just kind of, put them off to the side. And that, I feel like that is what makes the parents feel a type of way and makes them feel not welcoming. So they ignore the calls. That's why half of the students' parents always ignore the calls. I have a friend, and I remember she was saying her mom ignored the call from getting help and stuff because they don't feel like it's welcoming. Because as soon as the parent tells the principal or that one of the administrators their feelings or however they feel and why they're not getting help, it's like they brush them off and take them somewhere where they need other help. And some teachers, they are also not welcome. And I know a lot of teachers in my school, they're not there for the kids. They're there to get a paycheck and leave.
And I got a question. You're in high school, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you being in high school, how do you feel like, because we all grew up in different eras, so you know what I mean. I'm sure that, there's some people listening on this that will say, well, some of these children just don't want to learn. Some of them don't want to listen. And it's like, how can a teacher want to teach after going through all these years of schooling, going through this rigorous time and masters, this, that, and the third? I don't think someone would want to spend 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years trying to become a teacher, not to care. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think it's more or less. What are some of the things that you think that you've seen or that you're now going through to say that, hey, do some of these children just don't, or are there some things that you guys are going through that you feel like you to make you feel like they don't care? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're teaching you, say for instance, your math teacher is teaching you math. And, a lot of teachers say, if you need help, if you need this, need that, come to me, we'll help you. Now, is that not enough for you guys? Or is it more or less like, do you guys feel inferior at times because you feel like, are you guys not focused enough to be in school because you're worried about the outside world, about, I got to go home and think about how I'm going to eat. I got to go home and think about where I'm going to sleep. Like, is that a lot? I feel like that plays a lot in today's society. It's not, not saying that there isn't no times and occasions that some teachers just don't care. However, but it's like, I feel like some of the students don't have the mind state or can't have the mind state to focus on school when after school I got to worry about where I'm going to eat at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After school, I got to know where I'm going to sleep. Sometimes I feel like, people have shoulders and they only want to wear the shoulders for people when times are good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when times get hard, It's, they kind of feel like, why do I have to carry weight? That's what shoulders are for.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's 50-50. I feel like sometimes it can be on the teacher's part, and it's not always, because I have had some teachers who are there for me and who is making sure I have this and have that. But another side is also the student who don't care, but it's not all the students who do care. I feel like from what I've experienced, like I said, it's not always about the students. I feel like the teachers, some of the students that they're used to, I'm not gonna lie, at my school sometimes they do get disrespect, but at the same time they give disrespect. I hear a lot of the students in my school say, "I'm gonna treat you how you treat me," and whatever vibe that the teacher will give off, they do. But also, on other times, it's because they don't feel like they can do the work. Some feel like they're not equipped to do the work because they have been let down so many times by other teachers. There is a lot of teachers who don't say, "Keep going, you can do it. I see in you." There's not a lot of, I can honestly say that there's not a lot of teachers who do that. Like, for example, at my school, during this virtual learning, it has set up a lot of students to be lazy and not think about the future. I'm not one of them, but it has, I see, it has gotten me lazy at times. But it's like there's not a lot of help. I'm not gonna lie. There has been on numerous occasions that teachers have. It almost feels like they're setting us up for failure because they know that they should be helping us, but instead they're not. Because at the same time, they're being as lazy as the students. And at this point, one person has to be strong enough and tell us that you keep going. I only had two teachers that have checked on me back to back and making sure that I do my work. The teachers have in my class, all they do is talk for about a good 10 minutes and class is over. Every time I get out of class early, my mom's asking, "Oh, you out so early?" I said, "Yeah." All they do is give us work. I can honestly say this whole virtual learning, I have learned not one thing. Like, I just do the work.
Can I?
So what do you think that
hold on one second.
even us here can do to help you,
hold on,
or to help children that help you guys? Because you're what grade are you in?
I'm in 12th grade.
You're in 12th grade. You're at that you're at that you're at that crossroads in life where it's if I can go either left or I can go right. You're at that place right now where it's like it's not a hit or miss, but it's like, okay, I'm leaving 12th grade. This is not a game. I'm get to live my life the way I want to construct it and the way I want to live it. So what are some of the things that you think that you're going to need that even something else where I could do, or some other people, because this is programming. This will be recorded and played for the rest of people in the world. So
and I want to say something real quick. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
It's the support for me. Like, I feel like a person who checks on you, and whenever you need help and however you need help, they are willing to give it to you. Like I said, there are a lot of teachers who don't do that. It's always the work, and half of the work that they give so much work that they barely even grade the work that we work so hard on and spend hours to do to get it done. Like, I feel like I said, it's the support, it's the being engaged, like in class. Like, nobody's engaged, nobody talks. It's always the teacher and it's it. Nobody shows their faces. Like, my last period is the only period where we actually be engaged and we're talking and we're laughing. Just like a smile from a teacher, or just some jokes that are, just saying some funny jokes or something, just to get somebody's spirit up. It shows, like, just that little something can do something. And a lot of teachers are not. They're just blunt. They give you the work and you do it, and on to the next class. Like, that's how I feel. It's always the support and showing that you care. And a lot of teachers don't do that. And it feels like a setup. In my opinion, it does, because I feel like there can be more done. It doesn't take a lot just to make a joke or just to do this. And even when we have those jokes in class, they get serious on us, and you don't always have to be serious in life. Sometimes you can just add something to it to make some change. Play Kahoot, do something. And a lot of my teachers don't do that. And I just wish that there was more support. But at the same time, like I said, there are a lot of students. My school has given opportunities, like even where, it's I forgot what it's called, work-based learning. You can work and still go to school. They'll let you have good attendance even if you're not specifically in class, but you're working. But they understand. But like I said, it's always support.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to jump in here, because I want to make sure that we relate all of this back to the topic. And again, the topic is repairing our homes, exploring and identifying the breakdown of the minority home, measuring the impact, and providing responses. So to go back to that, what I'm hearing is we're actually measuring the impact of the lack of responsibility or the lack of involvement in the home. So before we even get to school, we have to start at home. And so what I'm hearing is that we're measuring the impact of the lack of whatever is lacking, whatever that is. So I do want us to, because this is how we wake each other up. What is there is the separation of involvement in the home, because everyone's going to have an argument here. The teachers are going to argue because, being that I have been very close to the educational system since I was a child. My mother has worked her way up into the system in APS, and so I have had very close involvement with that. Just being her daughter, let's just say that. And teachers are going to argue, well, the parents aren't doing nothing. Okay, the teacher is going to say, well, I have my own family and my own things that I'm dealing with, especially now with Corona. They're worried about making sure that they living at the end of the day now, because now the teachers are like, am I even gonna live until the end of this year? Because every day I come into the school system, every day I walk through this building, I have a potential to catch Corona. Not to mention other things that teachers were catching from students before Corona came. Let's be real. Right. So we do have to then say, okay, parents, how are we going to communicate? I'm going to make up a word. I don't know if it is a word. Communalize. That was a word I just made up. I don't know if it's real, but how do we communalize this relationship?
It sounds good.
Okay, thank you. I just made that up. Okay, but communalize this relationship and keep it there. How do we stop the separation? It's like we get this momentum. We get some black man gets shot, and then we wake up, and then we go back to sleep. How do we stay awake? How do we keep parents in the schools? Because one thing about it is, if the parents know what's going on, even though they may not be able or be in the right position or may not even live with them, at least every time they have a conversation with their child, they're asking them, how's school going? We also need to focus on parents and also teaching parents to have more faith in your children and the abilities of your children. Let's start that. I have been around a lot of parents who dog their children out. When I mean dog them out, hate them because they look like their father. A child looks like their father. Don't let a father do wrong to the mom, and then let the boy come out looking like the father. I have heard so many stories of men who've been condemned by their mothers simply because they remind them too much of their father, and vice versa. Men who don't take care of their daughters because maybe the daughter reminds them of the mother. So we have to figure out how we can look past our differences to see the value and to remember that it's our children who we should have, or where our value should be placed in our children. I think. Oh, and Lashandra's on the line, by the way. She came in.
And I'm having to get ready to go.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Bye, Mom. I have to go, but I just want to say this one word before I leave.
Okay.
Sandra, and it is keeping the conversation alive.
Yes.
Keep the conversation going. Keep this podcast going. And every time that you have this this meeting of minds. Make sure that you're keeping the conversation alive, and more will gravitate to this podcast. And also know too that with him all things are possible.
That's right.
All things are possible. So know that and believe it and trust in it.
Yes.
All right, everyone.
All right.
See you all later. See you later.
See you later.
All right.
See you, Sandra. I'm so proud of you, Sandra.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
Okay, and yes, Chandra was about to say something. Yes.
This is what I say. I think because they do have. Let me. Okay, so they do have programs. I'm in. I can only speak from my experience. I do have a lot of experience on a lot of things because of the situations I put myself in. But that's another conversation. But they do have programs that talk about family and stuff like that. But the thing about it, I feel like more of it is we need to go into the community and talk about the family structure and how, and then, you know, it's like people have to be retrained.
Yes.
Most of the times, homeboy, I'm only going to speak to like males. I'm going to talk about males a little bit. But most of the time, they looking up to their friends or their homeboys. So they making these children, and they're not understanding what it really takes to be a father. Why should I? Why I should be laying down and playing around without protection? Because you know we all human. People have sex, but why I should be impregnating people without taking the responsibility of being that father or being in that home? I think it needs to really be taught into these lower income communities. It's a lot of single parents like me. I'm a single parent, and I'm not gonna say I didn't choose to be a single parent because I put myself in that situation. I'm not a victim. I would never say I'm a victim, but there's a lot of people that don't understand they never had a dad. They never had a dad, and it's probably, I want to say probably 5% out that 100 that never had a dad and want to be a good dad, and the rest of them is just like whatever. I turned out all right. On to the next best thing. They don't understand the structure of building a family, starting from the bottom, grinding it out, building something with somebody.
I got a question for you, Chandra, because that brings me to that brings me to a place, right? It just hit me, and it's just so strong because, and I'm not going to quote numbers because I don't know numbers. I can just speak from a spiritual place that we all have heard the saying, misery loves company, right? Sometimes I think that people lacked family involvement. We're going to talk about absent fathers or even absent mothers. They lacked family involvement. And because they lacked family involvement, one reason that I have come up, that my spirit been hit by, is that a person may separate themselves because it's like, well, I didn't have a father. You're not gonna have a father either. So I'm not gonna be your daddy because I ain't have no daddy. It's not fair that I get that I didn't have a daddy. And maybe it reminds them of the fact that they didn't have a father. A lot of people, just in general as humans, we try to escape the things that broke us instead of trying to understand that what broke us doesn't mean we're broken. The moment you realize that you were broken, you're no longer broken, actually, because that's the moment of realization where you have the responsibility or you have the capability to change the future or make different choices to positively impact where it is that you want to go. So I think that some people separate themselves from their children because it's a reminder of what they lacked. And so how do we then we have to get people past that point.
Education.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to really go out here. I know they have programs because I've seen them. They have programs that you can actually attend, but you have to go out.
Okay.
You have to get a ride. We don't have a ride.
Okay. Now we're talking.
So if they can put this in these based on income and let them understand, because you know what? What it was back in the day is church.
Mm-hmm.
Church taught us
Yeah.
the mother, dad, all
Yeah.
these roles.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not going to church.
Well, because they took church out of everything. And
Yeah.
they took church and they took spirituality out of everything. You can't even be in a business meeting and we can hear other people talk about their gods, which is money. Because a lot of people's money is God. Let's be real. On the dollar, it says, "In God we trust." So we can allow other people to talk about their gods, but then when you're a spiritual person, you want to talk about your creator. Oh, no. Why are you going there? You're trying to push it on me. I do not see anything wrong with the person, no matter what you believe in. Because I'm pretty sure that no matter what you believe in, one of the main pillars of what you believe in is that you're supposed to believe in what you believe in silence and in front of people. So it's too many people straggling the fence. And yes, I will say that there has been manipulation of certain faiths or whatever the case may be. But the fact that you don't allow people to talk about it further allows manipulation to happen, because through discussion, you get to the truth, right? So I'm sorry. You were trying to say something.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, go on.
I'm just talking because I've been listening and I wasn't on here, but I've
It's okay. Go ahead.
But, okay. So, and then another thing is we have to teach them, it's okay. Every family, I feel like some people, it's so, in today's society, it's easy to jump ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean about jump ship? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this is hard. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not turning out well. Like I want. Mom and dad, and they like, okay, bye. I'm on to the next. I'm going there with him because we already got it together. Yeah. I'm going with her because she already got it together. Mm-hmm. And then they leave behind the kids. Yeah. And the kids are innocent. Yeah. The kids are innocent. They don't understand. Mm-hmm. They don't understand. So they have to carry that weight of that emotion with them, that like they weren't good enough. In actuality, they weren't strong enough to be in that situation. Yeah. But kids don't understand that. I know when I was a kid, I come from a single parent home. Mm-hmm. So I said I would never have kids. And I got 2 kids. So you know that, Chi-Chi. Yeah. Like, I said I'd never have kids.
I wasn't gonna have any either. I got a 4-year-old. So yeah, I definitely understand.
And I would love to have a family. I would love that's my biggest thing. I want the family.
Me too.
But they, in their eyes, and the person I'm talking from my experience, I don't want to bash. I'm not bashing men or anything. All men are not the same. Mm-hmm. But in their eyes, I wasn't good enough. Yeah. I didn't have it together enough. Yeah. Yeah. And even if I tried, like I stay in this relationship with this person, one of my children's father, I'll stay in a relationship with them, and they was like, "Oh, you don't cook." I started cooking. Well, I don't like to eat. I don't want to eat that.
Gratitude.
It's like I want this family with him, so I'm trying to make it work. Mm-hmm. So he says, "Oh, you don't make that much money. I go get another job making money." It's just like it's like a mile mark every time, and it's like I'm going in circles to do what I can for this person, and he just doesn't care. But you got a child by me. You never, and then for you as a man to say you never cared about somebody that you have a child for, that doesn't make me look bad. That makes you look bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just add to this. This goes back to me again with removing spirituality from the home. Again, no matter what your spiritual beliefs are, again, I'm very strong in what I believe in, but I see something here, because I found myself in that same position that you're talking about. And I found myself in a position where I was chasing the idea of a happy relationship in a person that met the qualifications on paper. He met the qualifications on paper, and I still found myself not being good enough. I was fat. I was too fat. Lost weight. Then, you wearing weave. Stop wearing weave. Okay? Wear my real hair. Then it was, it's just always something. But then then after I sat down and I realized who I am, I stopped chasing who they wanted me to be. And I started chasing who I am more. But I think that the removal of spirituality, everything is made to look like it's a fairy tale. People think witches are fairy tale. Witches are real. This shit, excuse my French, it's real. How TV has reshaped our idea of what's real, how media has reshaped our idea of what is real. And it seems like only to a degree it's a Western issue, because when I go to other places in the world, they understand the spiritual side of things. You know what I'm saying? It's not strange to them, but when you come here in Western society, all of the spirituality or the spiritual sides of things are dismissed as just being fairy tale, something Hollywood. Because Hollywood, where do you think Hollywood gets all these ideas from? Do we not know where Hollywood gets all these ideas? And so how it has to be in a way to suppress spirituality, because once you're separated from your spiritual beliefs, then you start losing who you are. You know, then I'm trying to chase somebody else's dream for me instead of my dream or the dream that was placed inside of me. So I believe too that it's also, again, measuring the impact, and identifying the breakdown. It was I think a large part of that is the removal of our spiritual belief system from the home, from the minority home, because that was what was holding us together. Honestly, that was what was holding us together.
To be honest, it sure was.
It was. That's why I saw all the happy families and mom, dad,
fish fries,
church, all that.
Mm-hmm.
All that. Even though I grew up in a six-parent household, that's all I seen. And that's what I wanted. And that's exactly what I wanted, but I didn't get that. For whatever reason, I didn't get it. And I don't feel like they put an importance on building a family.
Yes.
Building a family. It's like, oh, you don't like her, leave her. Not getting counseling. You're supposed to, if you and your significant other is not seeing them eye to eye, what you need to do is get counseling, not leave her, because the grass ain't green on the other side.
Right.
You're leaving her with these kids, and it's a broke home.
I want to say one thing. I know I'm talking a lot, but I want to say something that I'm going to talk about cultural differences. Let me tell you this. So I was talking to a lady on the phone the other day, and we were just talking about children, and we were talking about what was going on with Kirk Franklin and his son, right? And how they were kind of they were going through a tough period, and how he came on TV and he apologized for the things that he said. Personally, I didn't feel that he needed to apologize. He's human. He's human. He said some things that you probably would have said too if you took care of a child for a long time and they just decided they were just going to disrespect you blatantly. I'm just going to show us two different sides. I'm Nigerian American. I'm Nigerian citizen. I'm American citizen. Okay. Now, I was speaking to this lady on the phone. We were having a conversation about this, and she said, and I was like, well, I noticed that my daughter, as I'm growing this nonprofit with Chandra and my sister here, as I'm growing the nonprofit, I'm noticing that, that would create an opportunity for me to become more distant from my child. And so I was telling her that now I keep her very involved when we do community service events. Myself and LaShandra, she has a daughter the same age as my daughter. We take them out, and they're involved in the community events that we do. When we go feed the homeless, when we feed the hungry children, they're going to be right there with us, understanding and realizing and having gratitude. Developing that idea of gratitude is very important. But when I was talking to her, she said, well, no matter what you do with these kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to do whatever they want to do. And I said, I rebuke that. You know what? I rebuked that, but it was like she was cursing me. She was like, well, she's telling me that my child is going to be this way. And I'm like, I rebuke that, because who says that? That's Western society. When I go to Nigeria, I dare not disrespect my parent. I don't disrespect my mother now, and I'm 31. I may be a little snappy, but I would never curse my mother. I'm never going to argue with my mother. I never saw my mom arguing with her mother. That's Western ideals. Because if you go to Africa, I can probably anywhere in Africa, You think you're going to disrespect your parent? Oh, no. No. That's not going to happen. So a lot of this is westernized ideals that we've developed. Again, losing our own spirituality, we get lost in someone else's. So that's another thing. There's some things that we need to start, ideals that we need to start adopting from other countries. Not all things, but at least those types of things. Why do people feel like when a child turns 13, they're gonna be so disrespectful to your parents? It really depends on how tight your grip is. You know, it really does, because I never cursed my mom. I never argued with my mother and cursed my mom. And I have a great relationship with her. I don't resent her. I love my mother. So why do we feel like when a child gets a certain age that they could just, we got to get rid of that too.
I think people say that because of puberty, and it brings out different emotions where you have to then check them. It's like you get them, because I know I have a 12-year-old.
Okay.
I have a 4-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. So I get to points with him where I have to read him. I have to get them together because he for whatever reason they feel like they grown or almost grown.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm not your friend. I'm your mother. You're gonna respect the fact that I'm speaking to you, and I told you something. I don't care. I trump everybody in this.
Yes.
Like my mom's downstairs, but when I speak, you better listen to me.
Okay. I want to pause you right there. Which comes to some of my points that I've written down.
Okay. Yes, because you've been quiet for a little bit. Okay.
No, I like to listen because I feel like you say something, let it marinate, see how people respond. You listen.
Yes.
And then that's when you can, you can respond again.
Okay.
So, what you just said was very important. Which comes to my point.
Okay.
In fact, it's man code and woman code.
Okay.
Man code. When a boy disrespects his mom, that is when the man is supposed to be there.
Okay.
To let that boy know.
Okay.
This is not how you treat a woman. It's not how you treat your mother.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Straight from the door.
Okay. I like that.
The issue now is the fact that the women have to try to play the man role and exercise these things that they do not know how to naturally do. Okay. Because it's a man code saying, specifically man code, because it's just a thing that men know. Okay. It's like, a man knows how to be a protector. It's by nature. We can try to learn some of the things that the woman does to help our daughters, but however, a woman can only raise a woman. You know what I mean? So, in that situation, that's when, of course, not saying that the mother doesn't correct or chastise the child. However, I think just assessing it, where the breakdown occurred was, let's take a step past the fact that our men were leaving the house. Okay. Because our men started leaving the house in around 67 to about 74. That was around the time of the Ronald Reagan era and the Vietnam War.
And the crack epidemic.
A lot of our men were gone. Yes. So you have to figure, just a little bit of history. Some people don't know. A lot of the children, so you're 17, 18-year-old male up to about the age of 32, 33, 34, and some a little bit older, were in war for about a good 7 years. So a woman, a child, a small girl who's 17 years old, 18 years old, by the time she turned 25, she's experiencing things. She's experiencing life and intimate life life goals that everyone has with much older people that might have already went through the experiences that she has yet to learn. So they're kind of sabotaging her growth. So now you have this big social gap where you're having 25-year-olds have children with 48, 49, 50, 42, 40-year-olds, 60-year-olds. You know what I mean? Which made a major breakdown because these young girls are not getting married to them. Some of them that did. However, it made a big breakdown because they didn't have no one to grow with. So that started the stigmatization of what you see nowadays is a lot of the young girls say, that boy 18, I'm 18, or 22, I'm 22, or I'm 21. I don't need no one my age. I need someone older. I need someone older. I need someone older. I need someone older. Because of the stigmatization that this man has his stuff together. This man can take care of me, take care of me, take care of me. It's the conditioning that they did since the war. You know, because a little bit before that, before the Vietnam and everything, a woman, a young girl wouldn't dare talk to no one who was a couple years older than them. It wasn't even thought of. You know what I mean? It was unheard of, you know. So I think a lot of the things that we've brought on since around that time, and when a lot of our men came back from war, crack era started. A lot of the mental issue things started. Mental issues was nothing until that era came out. You know, for those who don't know, for some of the history. So Mayberry and a lot of the different things started to occur out of it, which trickled down onto where we're at now, where we have people missing out of the family. We don't have any church because our church was what kept us up. So even though you might not have had a father in the house, at least that you were taking your child to church. When the child was going to church, there was other children there, and there was other men there who can go ahead and have the boys be separate from the girls, and then they have different Sunday school classes, and they have different activities they have in the church, and you know they have fishing, or they have this, they have arts and crafts, they have singing, they have different things that occur within these churches that showed the boys how to be men, and the girls how to be women. And that's what we're missing now. The boys and girls clubs that we grew up on are gone. They're no longer there. You know, the early morning breakfast at the parks are gone. There's a lot. There's no more summer day camps and summer camps and winter camps for these children to go to. Those where you learn man code and woman code. Along with football and basketball, you know what I mean? And
where do all these things go? Where do you think?
No.
Okay.
Actually, they do have Boys and Girls Club. They have a lot of different resources, but I don't think because before I went to Atlanta Public School, Fulton County, they didn't have it so much. But when you're in an inner city school, it's like they have so many resources.
You know what, Chandra, that I think? I just want to just to point both to Yaru and you, Chandra. What I've noticed, and this is what I call systematic chains, that is very real. Systematic chains are very real. Systematic chains means when you have a resource, but you make it inaccessible. You see, think about it. If you have a food program and 80% of the individuals in that area don't have a car or transportation, how do you think they're going to get to the food program? So you're saying you got food, but if 80% of the people in that area can't get there, what did you do? That's systematic change.
Right. But that's where the church came in.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in the Salvation Army.
Okay.
I didn't have my mom or dad.
Okay.
Or grandma.
Okay.
Or aunt or uncle or cousin. I didn't know no one in my family. Nobody. For about 16 years of my life. Wow. So being lonely was a thing. Was like a friend of mine. Loneliness was a friend of mine. You know, a lot of people say, you know, I didn't have my mom or dad, but I had my grandma. But I felt alone. Now, and I sometimes reply to a laugh like, imagine not having nobody. Not knowing a mom, dad, sister, brother. You you know what I mean, children, like, you know, all my brothers and sisters, we were separated into different adoption homes. You know what I mean? So you didn't know anyone. You were literally by yourself. You know, there was no one to turn to ask for help. So like different programs that the Salvation Army gave, that started to be, you know, my refuge. Okay. You know, different things that, you know, that they had in the community. Unfortunately, going into, you know, the gangs, you know, around the time, because they gave me some sense of security. They taught me how to fight. They taught me how to stand up for myself. Different things like that, because the churches started to kind of diminish around that time. 13, 14, 15. A lot of the things that the city were given, like the Boys and Girls Club, started to diminish very quickly. A lot of the mom and pops, they're different little things that they have, you know, the Boy Scouts and stuff. They were no longer getting a lot of funding no more. They were kind of it was like all of them were starting to merge together, so you had to go to one big one, which might have been far. So how you gonna get there? Yeah, you know, they closed your neighborhood pools down. You know what I mean? So the community stopped being the community because they didn't have any community. We no longer had community carnivals because they were scared that someone would get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So like everything that we were going as a community parades, community this, community that, they shut it down.
Can I ask you a question? Who was providing this to the community? Can I ask you that?
Who was providing this to the community?
Yes. It
was a lot of the people who were coming from the churches. So you gotta figure, when I was 13, so it was like early thousands, late 90s, no, early thousands, so 2000, maybe 2001, 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 3, 4. Those were all the people who were in their 40s, late 40s, and 50s who were providing this coming out of the church. Who had careers, who had the funds, who were in these neighborhoods, who were paying good taxes. So a lot of the taxes were going towards that, who were going to these city council meetings and neighborhood meetings saying we need this in the neighborhood, we need that in the neighborhood, take this tax off, raise that tax. These are our grandparents. They were the ones that held it down for us to have those things. Gotcha. You know what I mean? The last of the Black Panthers, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like those people were the ones who they were the forerunners. They were the ones who
whatever happened to the Black
gave
Panthers?
us that hope. You know what I mean? Other than that, we weren't. When
I see you,
Chandra.
I see you.
Ill, they started to move away. The people the middle class who had the money started to move away. There was no who's paying the taxes to keep this pool open? Who's paying the taxes to keep the carnival coming? Who's paying the taxes to have a parade? Who's paying the taxes at the board?
So if I understand correctly, I know LaShandra's next. If I understand correctly, a lot of these things are coming from tax dollars, right?
From tax dollars of not having nothing to do.
Okay, so all I want to say, and then I'm going to let LaShandra go, is this is the danger in relying on the system to be our savior. Salvation has to come from within us. That means that in addition to our tax dollars, we keep money in our communities, okay? Because just like you pay your taxes and then you can go buy a $150 pair of Jordans, you can take $50 and funnel that into an organization that you know is servicing the community. So all I just want to say is this is the danger when we as humans have one. They always tell everyone. Someone has actually told me this before. You can't put all of your eggs in one basket. A millionaire don't never become a millionaire having one hustle. So if we are ever going to rise above the oppression that we're in, we have to have more than one hustle. We can't just hustle the government. The government the tax dollars cannot be all we rely on. We have to have our own funds in our community. Let me go ahead and let Chandra say something because I know she's been trying to say something for a while. Okay, somebody share something. Okay. Okay.
I shared it already.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what I was gonna say. I was definitely gonna say, far as so far as the Atlanta, I can only speak for Atlanta and Fulton County, South Fulton. Well, I can speak for Clayton County too, because that's where I grew up in. I grew up in
Speak for Conyers too. Can you speak for Conyers and Covington? Because I graduated from Newton County High School.
Of course, I never went there, so I can't speak for them, or I never been there.
I say because there ain't nothing out there.
I know it's empty out there.
Yeah, it is. But they got the most affordable homes, though. I'm gonna tell you that in Conyers.
But you know what? You know what it is.
There's a high crime rate of people breaking into houses.
What you say?
People have to fight for what they want.
Yes.
You're not gonna get. You gotta fight for what you want in your community. Where you pay your taxes, you gotta fight for it. If it's not there, make sure it gets there.
Yes.
You can't just take no for an answer.
Yes.
Or even if you're the only one standing up, keep standing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about that.
That's our goal. We have us.
I don't care. I'm gonna make you do your job. I don't care.
Chandra and I both are the founders of We Have Us, and even already we have a Clean Atlanta initiative where we go around communities in Atlanta and we clean. So we made a post about it, and this lady goes, "Oh, people in Clayton County and Fulton County don't read," but it was a pun. It was almost like a pun at Black people. I'm gonna be honest. And my response is simply this: I cannot focus my life on people who won't change. I can only focus my life on people who will. Anyone who's focusing their life on people who will change, they're trying to play God. And I'm not God. I'm not a God. Okay. I am a supernatural being who inhabits the earth, but who is not of this earth. But I am not a God, and I don't try to play God. So I let the Most High, who I call Yahweh, handle people who won't change, because that's his job. It's not mine. My job is to follow his guidance, do what he asked me to do, and help those who are willing to change. That's it. So that's the thing. As people, we have to stop worrying about who ain't gonna get with it. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Most times I talk about, or Chandra and I were talking about community development. People say, "Man, these people ain't ready to change." That's your problem. When you're constantly focusing on negative, you'll never move. You'll never move from where you're sitting if the only thing that's holding you back is your adversary. That's why what LaShondra said, you have to keep pushing. You have to keep fighting. You have to keep on.
You have to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say, we're gonna use Conyers because you say it's nothing out there.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna use that.
Okay.
Or even I can use South Fulton. I can say Conyers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Conyers.
Yes.
Not trying to get on your city. Only reason why I even pointed out my city, because I don't like to say Georgia or the South.
Yeah.
Because there's our pockets of places that's doing good.
Yeah.
For there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always kind of try to point out where I
exactly.
Because there's pocket places where there are stuff. Can't say Georgia is, don't have anything. The South doesn't have anything. No, just where you stay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you to take your taxpayer dollars and make sure it's getting used the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said something about city council meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You said it's voting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of voting too.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, okay, if you don't even want to climb that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with moving to your urban neighborhood?
Yeah.
Where those are already in place.
Mm-hmm.
And then venture out, okay, I see what I need to do to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a group of people and let's go to country.
Yeah.
Let's accomplish it.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I never take no for an answer. I don't do no well.
Yeah. Me neither.
I don't do no well unless I'm just over it.
Yeah.
I don't do no well, and I'm not gonna take no, especially when I put in. So I want to get what I need out. So many other people and other races are getting what they need out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, and then you know what? Conyers is like, I don't know, because I've been to Conyers probably 1 or 2 times. I know a couple of people that stay in Conyers, but it's, from my understanding, even if you was a name Griffin, they don't have none of that stuff down there either. You know why? Because these folks sometimes don't need it. I mean, they got their pool in their backyard. What they worried about a pool in the day? They got this. They're not worried about you or us at that or us.
That's why we have us.
If you don't make your own hub, or if you don't make your own like community within that community, they got everything they need.
I'm gonna give you an example.
They got their transportation. They can get around.
I'm gonna give you an example. When I go to Nigeria, when we order a meal, if I order lobster, right? I dare not think I'm gonna eat that lobster by myself. That lobster goes in the middle of the table, and everybody who's at that table eats that food. But I noticed that again, we have this selfishness that if we have something that's only for us, for example, that's why you have to be more spiritually led. It's nothing wrong with sharing what you have. Obviously, you have to use wisdom on who to share that with, because there are snaky people no matter where you go. But one thing I want to point out, hey, Donald, one thing I want to mention is that if there is one Black person or one minority person in the neighborhood who got a cousin who got a swimming pool, well, you know what? Y'all got a swimming pool, but no, it's like, oh, this is my swimming pool. This mine. This my y'all. Nah, y'all. I'm gonna sit up here. I'm gonna be a king of the hood, right? I'll be the king. Nah, y'all can't come up here. Y'all get to watch me be happy. Y'all can't be happy with me. We don't want to share our happiness with people, because there's a lot of us who are successful. I'm not rich, but I promise you, any excess that I have, I give. And I'm not saying this to brag, it's to inspire other people. That when you have excess, you have a responsibility to your people, to the people, to spread that with other people. It's not, we have to stop having this. That is, again, people are still mentally oppressed. I'm telling you. Right. Just because you're successful doesn't mean that you're not mentally oppressed. If you cannot help your brother because you don't want your brother to rise above you, if you can't help your brother because you want your brother to see you be happy because they hurt you, then there's something wrong with that. Right. It's something wrong with that. We have to get past our brokenness and forgiveness. I talked about forgiveness in the last conversation. I'm talking about forgiveness again. Do you know that forgiveness, the lack of forgiveness will keep you where you are? You will not be able to move forward without forgiveness. I don't care what success you think you have acquired. If you lack forgiveness, you still will be mentally in chains. Forgiveness is a large reason why we can't come together. We don't forgive this person for hurting us. Well, guess what? If you can't forgive them, I'm going to take it back to spiritually because that's where I live at. In the Bible, one of the conditions, Bible, Torah, Apocrypha, whatever one you read, the one condition to him forgiving you is that you forgive your neighbors. Do you know that? Do we remember that? The condition to forgiveness is to forgive. So, you got to remember that. If you are a spiritual person, I'm only talking to the people who are spiritual because it's only going to work. I mean, you have to believe in something for it to manifest. So I'm just speaking to the people who believe in the Torah, Apocrypha, Quran, or whatever. For those people who believe in those things, understand that forgiveness is the qualification to forgiveness for your own forgiveness. So we got to get to the point where we start forgiving people too, because that's how we can move forward. Yes, Donald, welcome to our round table. I appreciate you for joining. I don't know how much of it you've heard, but we are talking about repairing our homes. Our primary objective for this conversation, again, my show is RealTalks with Locs, identify, measure, respond. Identify, I think it's important that we have to have some structure and healing. There is structure and healing. So identify. We're going to identify or explore the breakdown of the minority home. We're going to measure the impacts of those. So how far does that breakdown extend into other areas of our life? And then we come up with respond through conversation or resolution through response. Then my organization, Chandra is also one of the founders of the organization. We then take that as a call of action and manifest these responses into actionable items into our communities. We will go out into the communities after having these conversations, and we apply those things in order to repair in order to repair our communities. And that is all of the oppressed. I do not believe in just focusing only on Black issues. Yes, we do have our issues, but if we don't get past it just being a Black issue and understand that it's oppression, and that means that the need for power from someone else that's oppressing you, because again, when I go to Africa, I see oppression. It's not just black and white, because ain't no Black person, ain't no white person there oppressing you there. Okay, so we have to realize, if we really want to escape these chains, we do need to realize the greater part of the enemy, and that's the lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding, and so liberation through education. So that's just to kind of catch you up where we are. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that point, because when we speak about lack of education, the education that I think that's vital for us to start with is a understanding, first of all. And the understanding, what that is going to consume is going to be getting out of the stereotypes. First of all, you're not an angry Black woman. There's not a country called Black. None of those things. Once you start to realize who you are, do you know that you once were a warrior?
Yes.
And so some of that spirit still lives on in you. However, everything is about a proper balance. The problem is that the balance has been thrown off. It has been shifted. It has been designed to be this way. To where that now that a female feels like as if it has to be overpowering. See, first of all, there was a power inside of your femininity. There was a certain power that was inside of my masculinity. But at the same time, if we're going to take it, you're a spiritual person. So, all right, well then let's take a look at it. Okay. What were you taking from? Were you taking from my femur?
Rib.
Rib. Oh, I'm glad that you said that. Cool beans. So, let's take a look at the rib. What does the rib protect?
The
Where's
heart.
The heart at? The heart's there? Okay. What about your lungs?
The lungs, yes, the lungs too.
They're protected by the ribs? What about your stomach? It's protected by your ribs too. Okay. What you call your belly, that's nothing but your intestines. Okay, so that's not even your stomach. That's your intestines. Now, with that being said, I am to protect you physically. My place is to be by the door. So if you want to know if a man is really a man and really worth his salt as a man, if you invite him into your bedroom, maybe even, it don't have to be on some grown folk things. It could be just watching TV. Lay by the door. See what he does. If he does not try to move you, nor lay on you in a non-sexual manner to let you know this is my spot, run. Run.
Okay. Okay, I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I ain't gonna have no men in my bed, but I feel you on that. I like that though, for the ladies who do.
To understand.
I like that. I like that.
To understand him first.
Yes. Yes.
I can't understand you if I don't understand me.
Yes.
Now, with that being said, the reason why I spoke about the ribs is this. I may protect you physically, but you protect me emotionally.
Yes.
Spiritually. I can't go ahead and talk to y'all. All right, so my name is Benny, y'all. Okay? That's my actual name. Okay. I go by Donald, just to introduce myself to people, because a lot of times that's the way it gotta be. But anyways, I can't go to Yaru and say, Yaru, man, I got stuff going on with me, man. It's hurt. It's hard. I can't do that. Yeah. I can't. You know what he's gonna say? Come on, Dad, man up. Man up. Same thing I say to him. But I come to a woman. What does she do? She takes it. She cultivates it. She goes ahead and shapes it and forms it and gives it back to me as courage. So I might have got that cry out, but guess what? I'm coming out swinging in the morning. And so that's the thing, is you have a power. And what they've been trying to do is to go ahead and rob you of your power by giving you an unjust balance. Now you think that you have to bite my back out. I don't want, a man doesn't need someone who has his back. He needs someone who has his side. Especially as your king, I need a queen who has my side. See, if a woman has my back, all right, let me give you a quick scenario, and then I'm going to, let whoever chime in. Okay, so let's say my uncle dies. I'm running a business, okay? Now, while I'm running this business, I got a business meeting with some investors. The woman who has my back, she says, I said, you know what, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. She said, man, get in there. Stop playing. Come on, let's get this money. What's wrong with you? See, you know what? You need to go ahead and man up. That's what she says. Okay? So, with that being said, is a woman that has my side, what she does is she says, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
When we come in here, I'm going to go ahead and I'll give you a sign that lets you know when to take a break. Because she knows I'm not going to be all the way there. Don't worry, I'm right here with you. So most of the time, a lot of guys don't respect the woman the way they ought to. Y'all hear the details.
Yeah.
We see the big picture, y'all see the details that puts that picture together. So you say, okay, call for the meeting, the little gesture. I say, give me 1 second, I would like to take a quick recess. You go in the hall, you say, listen, they just sat there and played themselves because they went ahead and said this, but they contradicted and said that later. And so this is where they're at. When I go back in, your service is no longer required, gentlemen. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I handled the business at hand, and yet at the same time, I was able to get everything accomplished. So when it all comes down to it, it's about learning us and not allowing for media to stipulate who we are. For too long, we're letting media stipulate who we are. How is Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion telling you who you're supposed to be? So you want me to treat you as a queen, but yet you're walking around as and portraying yourself to be a harlot. No, I'm going to treat you like a pimp. I'm not going to be a king towards you. So when I say understanding, it's about getting rid of all these different little boxes that place us up into the days of bartering for the women, that place us back into those days of slavery, period. We have to get up out of those. Once we get out of those, then we can begin to see each other. I can't see you if I think I'm nothing. If I think I'm nothing, then why would I treat you like something? Because that's to elevate you above me.
That right there is so valuable, and I used to talk about it a lot, and maybe this conversation was important because I know again why this conversation is so important, and for you to be here just to come back into my own consciousness. I used to say to people, I do believe in roles and relationships, and people look at me like, oh, some feminists, they look at me like, what? But you have to understand, when I'm saying roles, we're so in the fight again within ourselves. We're still fighting for power, and without, everything is a balance. And it's exactly what you said. And like, there's a reason why men were made by nature. Yes, we know that there are anomalies. We know that there are women who are naturally stronger than, but in the essence of testosterone and estrogen, testosterone is stronger physically than estrogen. So what I'm saying is that there's a reason why men were created physically stronger in general than women were. It's not that the man is more powerful than you. It's to understand his value versus your value. Just as you said, it's coming together. A man, like you said, they may lack the ability to naturally, you hear that? Naturally relate to something emotionally. But that's why okay. Going back to the timeline of creation, I'm going to again speak from a spiritual place. If we go to the timeline of creation, He said that he created us. I'm talking about the Most High. I call him Yahweh. Some people call him God, but I like to be distinctive so people understand, because there are a lot of people who try to play God. The God of Abraham, Yahweh, that's who I'm speaking of. Okay. If you look at the timeline of creation, he created us in his image. This is before his son came down, right? In his spiritual image. And if you read the Bible, the Torah, the Apocrypha, even the book of Enoch, it tells you, it is there that he created us in his spiritual image, and that he only created male and female for reproduction. You understand that? Male, he only gave us two separate things for reproduction. When the fallen angels were coming down, coming to earth to sleep with the daughters of men, they questioned why. Because he said, you were living here peacefully. The only reason why I created a woman is so that they can reproduce. So that shows you that if he created us in his spiritual image, that there's no sex that's greater than the other. Everything that he creates is for balance. You have to now it comes to understanding who you are, to understand, like you said, what your power is to create a whole. Because I guarantee you this, and I'm going to speak boldly because I know how I'm walking. If I met a man who was like me and we came together, I promise you that we would change this world through his light. I know that without a doubt. I do not have any doubt. If I met another man who believed as I believe, and we came together, we would change this world, because that means that he would have had the faith that I have. And the faith that I have is that he put me here to be his light, to be a representation of his light, and that it was for a purpose and for a reason. So I know this is what I understand, and I will submit to another power, because in certain instances, man's power is greater and is needed more than my power. It's all about humility and understanding where you have to submit yourself. That's the whole thing. That's why people don't believe in a God. That's why people don't believe in God or whatever they want to believe in, the universe, because it's so hard for people to submit themselves to the idea that there is something greater than them that they can't see.
Well, see, it's because of what the word submit meant to someone.
Okay.
So here's the thing. What if I was to tell you that actually what you consider submit is just a form of slavery?
Well.
And that actually the submit that he's talking about is just working beside me, working with me, working to go ahead and help better you, actually. Because let's take a look at the Torah. Okay. Let's take a look at all of the books. And you will find that Yahweh, first of all, everything that he asks for you to do doesn't help him. He helps you.
Yes.
Oh, wow. You know what? Why would he keep me away from something like that? Well, because it clogs your artery.
Yeah.
You know what? He said don't be a bottle feeder. Why? Because they eat crap. That's a only word I can think. Feces. How about that?
Okay.
So now they eat feces. And if you are what you eat, then guess what? Then that means you're a feces eater. How you doing? Now, as far as in the power, okay, so let's examine that. Did you know that there was a woman by the name of Deborah, or Deborah, whichever way that you want to pronounce it? She was a judge. She was a judge. Now, see, when we look at judges, we kind of think on man's way of what a judge was. Let me explain the scripture's way of a judge. That means that she was a teacher, a warrior. Whenever that they went to go out and battle, remember, Caleb came to her. She had a whole tree that was dedicated to her. So, with this being said, he said, you know what? You ought to lead us in battle. She said, no. Because the other nations will say that the victory was given by a woman. The other nations, never our nation. Other nations. So we got to destroy the thought processes that's been given us by other nations.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You are not under me. You are beside me. We are running a race together.
Yes.
It's about a togetherness. Now, see, if we was in business, guess what? I can be CEO of this branch, but I know in the finances, you're better in that branch. So what will happen? You'll be the CEO of that branch. And that's what it's about. It's time for the hand to stop telling the foot how to walk. The hand can't tell the foot how to walk. Because we don't walk on our hands. We grip with our hands. Things like that. So if we want to go ahead and go to the next venture, if we want to go to the next level, that's why I said it got to start with the understanding. We can begin to really build us when we build ourselves and our children. Do not allow for media to raise your children. Don't allow for certain things to be okay. I sat there and I watched today. A woman thought it was a female, not a woman. There's a big difference in that. I know what I'm saying when I say that. A female was allowing for her son to be sitting there cussing in front of her. And it was cute. It's cute.
She don't respect herself.
Not thinking that same disrespect is going to come to you when you're older. Or when you try to provide discipline. What happens then? Or let's just say you don't even try to provide no discipline. Now he goes ahead and comes to know Yahweh and disrespects. How far is that going to get him? Not far at all. So that's why I say in building us, we have to start inside. In-house. Once we get the in-house together, the outhouse is going to come. Because the outhouse is where we're going to go ahead and put all that crap at. The same crap that you fed me, guess what? I'm feeding right on back to you. Take that. As far as in this house, though, everything is going to be right, the way it should be, the way it ought to be. And so it's time for that to begin to start happening. And for each of us to really explain what it means to be blessed. What if I was to tell you that you go ahead, feel something in your spirit that says, give this person something. You got all your bills paid. And what if I was to tell you that when you paid that, you was about to get double for your money for what you gave? What if I was to tell you that?
You don't got to tell me because I'm a living testament of it.
Exactly.
So I already know.
Exactly. Because what it's about is we got to start getting into the minds, even if we got to do it like this. It's sharing with them and letting them know, like, hey, listen. He said, I'll open a window in heaven. A window. And pour you out a blessing that your pockets won't be able to fill. You get what I'm saying? So when that begins to happen now, that means he won't allow for you and him to switch places. If he asks for you to give it, give it.
Don't argue.
This is my dream here. All right. So my dream is this. And I'm focusing on making it a reality. To get others with me. I don't care. It doesn't matter about what gender you are. When he even he don't care about gender, because when he says man, it don't only mean man.
That's we gotta get past the surface.
So with that being said, is what I want to do is get people of like mind to begin to get these businesses going. Get things to where it's supposed to be. See, whenever the segregation, all that happened, we stopped going to the mom and pop stores. We want to go to Walmart. We want to go to this one. We want to go to that one. So now we started losing our dollars. And that's where the problem came in at. But what I like to do from there is, let's say I want to take you out. All right? Now, I want to take my missus out. I got a spot. My buddy got a spot. Another female we know got a spot. She got the boutique or the hair salon. My other buddy got a place for clothes. And I got a club. But when it's time for us to go on out, you go to get your hair done. You go to give money. No, your money's no good here. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. So she now goes ahead and goes over to the place to get her clothes. Oh, no, it's okay. Your money's no good here. Then you go to the club. Of course, we go into the VIP. But think about something that just happened. What did that do for you, knowing that your man already took care of all this? You see what I'm saying? It's bringing us a pride back.
Absolutely.
And it's called the barter system. We need to reinstate the barter system.
Let me look that up.
Because we're all on the same struggle. We're all in the same struggle.
Chandra, you there? Chandra? I don't know.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I don't know if she knows she's on mute. Chandra, let me text her. I'm in so much. Oh, there's me. Okay. Do you want to add to what we're talking about?
Okay, what I do want to add, you did say something earlier that hit home, and I'm all about. I like your energy. I do like your energy, but when I disagree, I disagree. As far as okay, if you act like this, if you act like a certain way, you're gonna be treated a certain way.
Okay.
I personally don't teach my kids that. I teach them you treat everybody with respect. I don't care what they act like. I don't care what they look like. They're treated with respect. I don't care if it's a prostitute on the street. I learned that from young when I was in church. If it's a prostitute on the street, don't talk about them. Help them.
Yeah.
If you can't help them, you shouldn't be talking about them.
I think that comes with a lot of and the reason why, unfortunately, but fortunately, religion and belief systems have to be in the midst because it has been both the blessing and the curse in our community. Okay. So there's a difference between being self-righteous and being righteous through the Holy Spirit. Okay. And I learned that there's a pastor here in Atlanta called Creflo Dollar. I was listening to one of his sermons and he was talking about the Holy Spirit. And he was talking about the Mosaic law versus the moral law versus the ceremonial law. And I think that as religious people, as a group of religious people, sometimes they're more focused on the Mosaic law instead of the moral law and the Holy Spirit, and understanding that the Holy Spirit is what makes us righteous. See, when you start within yourself, focusing yourself on, oh, I was able to keep this law, or I was able to keep this law, I was able to do this, I was able to do this, then you get this self-righteous, you develop into this self-righteous human who forgets the meaning of who he is. If it's through his Holy Spirit that you are righteous, then you should always acknowledge that first. Because when you have the Holy Spirit, you have understanding, you have love, you have patience. When you have those things, then you will, instead of walking up to that prostitute and saying, "Oh, girl, you a prostitute," and saying, "You know what? I know you're a prostitute, but I believe that you can change. Let me, if you want me to be here to help you, I'll be your light. And if you don't want me to, I'm still going to pray for you as I walk away." Right. See, those are the things that we have to, even if you are a religious person, and which is again, why I believe a part of the separation from the church, because it's too much judgment. See, yes, he gave us the right to judge. There's a difference between being judgmental and hypocritical. You have to understand that we all came from a place of what you would consider a sinner. So to forget where you came from and act like you've always been this person, this stand-up person, that in itself, you're condemning yourself. You are condemning yourself. We cannot continue as even believers to separate ourselves from our people because of what our people have done. No. You got the story wrong. You got the story wrong. The Holy Spirit is first. Again, if you have the Holy Spirit, everything else will fall into place. I used to smoke weed. I used to drink. And I used to have sex before marriage. I used to chase this dream behind a man. But it was the Holy Spirit. I used to be depressed to the point where I didn't want to be here. I've been raped. I've been kidnapped. And I am so very blessed. I'm doing better than a lot of people are doing who have degrees. I can speak about are the testimonies that I have. I'm not gonna just get up to a place where I'm doing extremely well and look at the next person and say, "Oh, if I could do it, you could do it." I'm not gonna look at them like that.
Right. And
I'm not gonna hold somebody to my same standard. I'm going to, because I have the Holy Spirit, I have humility, I have patience, and I have understanding. And with all of those three things, he was patient enough to get me where I am. So why shouldn't I be patient enough to help my next brother or sister to get to where they're trying to be?
But what you're talking about right now is you inside of your spirituality. What I was speaking of at the time was not someone who was spiritual. Everybody that we come across is not going to be spiritual.
Oh, and can I say this real quick before I don't want to cut you off. I just want to say this one thing. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to somebody who needed to hear it. Okay. 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 Okay.
When it comes to guys, there's a thing, and it's even with women. So let's not go ahead and not like it's not there.
Okay.
It's a stereotype. Though.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I'm saying that when it comes to it, depending on your level of spirituality, you treat people as such. Okay.
Gotcha. That's true.
Someone who is not spiritual.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
First of all, they're going to be a certain way.
Yes.
And they're going to be, they know that there's something that's supposed to be different. I'm not supposed to be treated like this.
Yeah.
Man or woman.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be treated like this. But how do you not get treated like that? When you change the outlook of you that you are putting out there.
I got you.
You're walking up to someone, and I've seen females dressed to where that you got on some stretch pants.
Yeah.
These stretch pants are see-through, and you ain't even got no pants.
I'm trying to explain what I was trying to say.
Hold on one second.
Now, see, first of all, any guy who's not spiritual, me as a spiritual guy, I'm not even gonna look at you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what it is you're setting forth to me that this is the type of woman that you are because you're not seeing yourself.
Yeah.
And that's okay if that's what you are. But what I'm saying is, this is what you're presenting to the men around you. And you're wondering, why am I getting this type of man coming at me? Why am I getting this king or this man who is righteous coming my way? Yeah. Because you're setting forth for unrighteous seed.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm talking about.
That makes sense.
Not basic of judgment. It's saying pass judgment on yourself.
Yes. Okay.
What do you want to have?
Chandra, you know what he's saying? And I know you know, but it's good that we having this conversation. It's good that we having the conversation so that we all can kind of hear the perspective, because everybody needs to hear what Chandra's saying and what Donald is saying and what I'm saying, because all of it, again, like you said, it has to be repaired from within our community. Just like me and Chandra, we both have recognized in relationships our part and what got us where we are. And so once we recognize that we don't make those same choices in the future. And what I'm hearing LaShandra saying is the responsibility. So we all have to realize where we can change. And so what she's saying, to, again, I don't know if it's necessarily towards you, it is an open conversation, and a lot of people, and we all are representing someone right now. So what I'm hearing she's saying is that, okay, well, I don't teach my children that. So not only do we have to, as women, be more conscious about what the message we're sending, we also, as parents, need to be more responsible in the message we're teaching, right? So that's what I'm hearing. But Chandra, do you have anything else to say about what you were saying?
Yeah, I was trying to explain what I was saying.
Okay.
As far as the way, okay, for one thing, let me back it up.
Okay.
I haven't always been this person. Chioma can tell you. I've came a long way, and I'm still going. So what I was saying is, like, me being the person I am today, from where I came from, I try not to pass judgment on people. Period. I don't care. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying far as we have to look at, and the point is, you fix yourself up for you. And that will shine through. Yes. And sometimes it might not be meant for you to have a man or have, we're not doing stuff for another. Like, you're not gonna do stuff if you're unmarried. You're not gonna do stuff for another woman to get with other woman attention. Cause you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's not all about that. It's about fixing yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, when you get older, as you get older, because I used to wear skimpy clothes too.
Me too, girl. Oh, I'm still trying to find my way out of the skimpy clothes, girl, because I'm going to tell you, I'm still working on that one.
You know what I mean? Like you can be, you can have some skimpy clothes on. I'm not, if you notice what I said, I said skimpy clothes and where I can see through, and there's no panties on, no nothing. Why am I looking at this? Why?
But you gotta understand. Let me finish that. I haven't finished thinking about it. So, okay. So what I'm saying is we need to get to a place where we look past all that and see what's inside.
Yeah.
What's inside this person? I go off of I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna say she'll hate when I say I don't know what it is. But I go off of something about people. Nobody I've talked to ever looked alike. I don't go off of looks. People always say, you don't go after looks. What you into? No, me and you have to vibe. We have to have that vibe, that connection. You got to be, it's different qualities other than sex and all the extra stuff that's obvious. It's different qualities. So I'm not going to look at you because, so I'm just thinking that everybody should be like that. Everybody's not going to be like that. That would be a perfect world.
Yeah,
but I'm in a place where I see past people. I'm in a place where I see past, okay, she got skimpy clothes on. Okay, she got that shouldn't judge the character within that person. Even though people are gonna judge you. They are. That's how human nature is. But that person can have skimpy clothes on and they have a college degree. Look at Mark Zip, what's his name, the Facebook guy. Look how he dressed. I mean, spiritually, I get what you're saying. Spiritually, I think once we grow within ourselves, we let some of these things go with it. Those things don't make us feel the same once you grow within yourself, and you're growing within yourself for yourself, not to get no man attention, not to get a woman attention. You will get that once you fix yourself. You're going to get that attention.
Yeah.
Now you have to figure out if it's good attention or bad attention. Because me putting on all my clothes, I still get bad attention. I mean, it's a lot of bad attention people out here. It's just it's one of those things. But I have to set my boundaries.
See, well, the thing for me is that I know of the histories like with Barton and how she was done and how she was paraded for all of these white men and showed to do something. And then what is the thing that is said amongst them when it comes to our women, what they say about the men that were thieves, were savages, when it comes to the women, that they're nothing but prostitutes, things like that. And so what I look at is on a thing of what are we setting out there? You know what I mean? And I brought that up. I knew I was going to get some feedback. I was expecting that. But it was just a
good conversation
to say is if you're saying that you're not looking, but if you get to that point that you are looking, this is going to be, and even though you want it to be better, people aren't going to be like the way that you want them to be. And so sometimes they're going to see those.
So I have to change the way I think to make people.
No. It's not about changing the way you think. It's just saying that certain things draw certain men. There's certain that men come for differences of reasons. Some to go ahead and just do things, and some to build.
I wanted to that's where I think, because I think maybe I'm the voice of reason, because both of what you're saying is both valid, but to bring this into the middle point, this is why in a lot of cultures and a lot of religions and a lot of spiritual belief systems, they talk about equally yoked, right? What I see is that we have to spend more time dating. That's what I think the problem is. Because I was talking to my brother the other day, and he was talking about how this girl was honest, and I think that men sometimes get caught up with the honest woman, because just because a woman is honest, because we live in a world where so many people are so dishonest. People get into toxic relationships with toxic people because those toxic people are honest. But just because a person is honest don't mean you're supposed to be with them. That just means that you have an opportunity to make a conscious decision to walk away from this type of person. And that's the thing. We have to spend more time dating. Say, oh, okay, well, I'm talking to this person. I'm with this person. Yes, this person is honest. So thankfully, I can say that this is an honest person. Now you can make an honest assessment with whether or not this person needs to continuously be an active part of your life. Sometimes you realize that, hey, this is a great person because they're honest, but does this person need to be a part of my life? In what capacity should this person be in my life? Should this person be in my life to marry? Should they just be a good friend? Should they be a boy? Like, what capacity does this person need to be in your life? And I think that's the problem. We get caught up by the idea that a person is honest, that we just want to have sex with them and have a baby with them. Or they're honest, so let's just have sex with them. I know they ain't got nothing, so let's have sex with them.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. I always tell you, and I always tell a lot of people, just because you're a good person and I'm a good person don't mean we're supposed to be together.
There we go.
It's a lot of good people in this world, but just because you're a good person and I'm a good person don't mean we're supposed to be together.
Absolutely.
And that's just what it is.
Yes.
We got to start fixing ourselves.
Yeah.
And fixing ourselves for ourselves.
Yeah.
If I don't meet no other man in this lifetime, I don't met enough.
Me too. Girl, I done met enough too, honey. Woo.
I want to be at peace with myself. I want peace with myself. I want peace within my home.
Yes.
Yes, I would love to be with somebody, but I'm not just selfish anything like I used to.
Yes.
I'm not going to.
Absolutely.
Just to have a man in the home. And the ones that are married, that's a lot of the problem. They're selfish anything. And I'll be like, oh my God, you're going through this, you're going through that. I am so surprised at stuff people go through.
Me too.
You'll be so surprised the people that's happily married, what they're going through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of it needs counseling. A lot of it needs a lot of things. As far as the where's the topic? I forgot.
Repairing our homes. How do we repair them?
A lot of stuff needs counseling. Even the ones that does seem like they have the picture perfect life.
Yeah.
All this is for show.
Yes.
A lot of it is for show.
Yeah.
When you go to their home, they arguing, they're doing all types of stuff in front of their kids. At that point, y'all need to break up if y'all not trying to fix it. Yeah. Because you're traumatizing the kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I've been traumatized when I was a kid, so I can speak on that. So we I think education would do a lot good in especially low income neighborhoods. Like actual pamphlets or just going out and speaking. Like you see how the Jehovah's Witnesses go out?
Yes.
I think we should have something like that.
Oh, we are. We're gonna do that, Chandra. Yes, I agree.
Like we make our pamphlets about, let's talk about, whatever. Let's talk about the importance of family.
Yes.
Or something like that. And we go out to the different houses and we sit in the house and we tell them affirmation that you're a king.
Yes.
You're a princess.
Yes.
You're a prince.
Yes.
Y'all have a home.
Yes.
Y'all need to nourish it. Y'all need to y'all need to build up for y'all right here now, but you can go anywhere you want to.
Co-parenting classes too.
Anything you want.
Even
as long as you breathe.
Even co-parenting classes, because you know what, we have to address what the main thing is. Right now, there are so many homes that are separated that just are not even healthy to be together. But what we can do is have co-parenting classes. How do you work with a difficult co-parent? How do you do that? Because at least don't put that stress on that child. At least teach children that even if you can't live together, we can still work together. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that we can do. I agree. Again, talking about the responses. Thank you so much, Chandra, for moving us to how do we respond to these things. I appreciate that. That's why I love you. That's why we're in this together. Because that's exactly it. We need to go into these homes. So everybody out there who is listening, if you have a nonprofit, If you don't have a nonprofit and you want to start a nonprofit, reach out to us. We'll show you how to start a nonprofit so you can do just those things. So you can be the action. We need to be going into homes, going into these neighborhoods where there are projects, going in there. We're not trying to break down what they already got done. We can go to the drug dealer in the neighborhood. Look, I don't have nothing, at the end of the day, I'm a person who understands balance, and I do understand that the drug industry does supply our government. So I'm not here to break down what people have going on. I'm just here to inspire togetherness. And so if that even means that we have to go into neighborhoods where and speak to the top drug person and just talk to them about the importance of keeping a healthy home that is not that there's no where we remove conflict in the home. If we have to go into broken homes, if we have to go, if a woman has a absent father, if she gives us the contact, instead of calling the child support agency, if we go and get men who are good fathers to go speak to him and ask him and get to the bottom of why he don't want to be there. Those are the things that we can do in our communities. We don't always have to get the government or everybody involved in our lives. We can that's why we have successful black, quote unquote, successful black men, or successful Chinese men, or successful Hispanic men, or successful black mothers, or successful mothers, so that we can take that and find that the strength that helped us become strong and take it to other people. Not so that we can just keep it. If we would imagine, Chandra, if we got all of the men who were absent from their child's life, not going up to them and saying, "Oh, you ain't nothing, you a deadbeat dad," instead of saying, "What's going on, brother? Why you don't want to, why what's going on? Why you not helping take?" If we got other men to do that, Chandra, what type of reparation?
Actually, we could probably reach the will.
Yes.
I know it.
Yeah.
Me saying it, and let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Me saying it, and I'm the woman that's in it.
Yep.
They irritated with me.
There you go. Yep.
They're bitter at me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hear nothing
Yep.
I say.
Yep.
I had that baby. I should never have.
Yeah.
They didn't want me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you got a baby by me.
Yeah.
So they're not listening to nothing I say.
Yeah, you
no matter
right.
how I try to come to them, no matter how I try to change the way I speak to them or deal with them, they're angry at me.
Yeah.
Angry at me.
Yeah.
Angry at me for no reason.
Yeah.
That's right. My brother.
Okay. Yes, Yaru. We're gonna so I'm going to it's 10 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to say their last things. I think I've said enough tonight. I'm at my mom's house, so my dad made some food. I definitely want to go grab some of this food. So not to rush anyone. I will want everyone to get whatever it is that they want to get out. What you want your lasting statement to be. And let it be what matters to you most. So, Chandra, I'm gonna let you rest. I'm gonna let Yaru go. Chandra's gonna go, and then I'll close out.
Okay. I heard a lot with you, moms and sisters. A lot of people are saying, and what I see, just recentering back to the focal point of why you come here, why you started this talk. And I think that a good opportunity, a good thing that I was thinking about was having a father-daughter thing, something small as that. A father-daughter day. Yeah. And it's nothing just to get, because everyone follows suit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone follows suit. If I can get 5 men to, we're gonna make this a fad, we're gonna make this a thing. Yeah. All right, cool. People will just follow it just because it's on Facebook or because it's on social media advertisement, and it's a marketing tool, and it's a good way. Everyone wants to follow the new trend, especially right now. We are coming in we're in a time where we as people are starting to wake up and starting to do things more and take control. Yeah. But you just have to learn how to take control and how to direct that energy into the control, and that's something that for good, not for bad. Yeah. So something as small as on Sundays when everyone's chill, Daddy Daughter Day.
Yes.
You can even have it at a park.
Yes.
Or
Oh,
you can
yes.
have it at the mall where everyone comes to the movie theater and brings their child to the movie theater.
I'm with it.
Hard.
I'm with it.
That is not hard. That is
Yaru.
It's not expensive.
Yes.
It's not obtainable.
Yes.
Or even if you do a Chuck E. Cheese day.
No. I like your idea. I think we got to focus on that one. That one, Yaru, is it. That came from the Most High right there. That one right there is it. If we got a National Women's Day, and why don't we have a National Fix Our Home Day? National Fix Our Homes Day, month, year, weekend, where every other weekend we have a family day. Why can't every day be a family reunion? It's so. Do you know that at least in Atlanta, you can have an event at a public park. There's a lot of public parks in Atlanta where you don't have to have no license or anything. You can literally just call up a group of friends and have a national time at the park. This is something that we can do. They don't, like you said, doesn't even cost money. It's about to be the summertime. Yeah, we know it's Corona, whatever. Put your mask on, okay, and separate. But just being there, even if we want to do it virtually, for those who do want to heed the warning. I'm not trying to tell anybody to risk their life going out to the park or anything like that. But we could do it naturally, where we just get on there with your daughter, like family. Like, even, some people will be like, oh, whatever, he just gonna come get the kids so he can take a picture and leave. But you know what? If he doing that every weekend, eventually he gonna consciously be there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They're gonna want to. They're gonna want to bond.
Yeah.
Bonding will come back.
Yes.
Naturally.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It will come back naturally, because I think a lot of times we forget that a lot of our men have PTSD.
Yes.
Or a lot of our men haven't been through traumatic experiences where we've stripped of our pride, feeling as a man, stripped of our pride, feeling as if we can stand on our own too. It's one thing. It's the worst thing for a man to feel like he doesn't feel like a man.
Yeah.
That he feels like he can't protect himself. He feels like he cannot provide for himself. And that right there will cause a man to go chaotic and be stumble in all his ways. And he will be living in a state of confusion and desperation. And desperate people do desperate things. You know what I mean? So and it might not be the most wisest choices that they make, because they're in survival mode. So something as simple as that, as, you know what I mean, making that a thing of Daddy Daughter Day, making that a thing, that will help the broken homes, because now it's making that boy or man go ahead and spend time with their child. So that's putting the father back in the home, even if they don't physically live there. You know what I mean? So then that can even transpire into now when they're there, and now when they get there, now you can have some women there. Definitely need women there, because you can't.
Yeah, you need us, honey. You need us.
But then have the women there to say, hey, this is how. Even if you have it at like a site or something like that, like, you know what I mean? Where, you know what I mean? We come in there, even as a part. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Chiom or you can come there. This is how you braid hair.
Absolutely.
This is how you braid hair.
Yeah.
Something simple as that, which women, I don't realize that men, you can ask any man you want. Yeah, we might say, I ain't gonna do no daughter's hair, but it's something about doing our daughter's hair that makes us feel like
we just did something great.
I just did something great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm beautifying my daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bonding to do it, attempt to do her hair, and look at her and say, hey, baby, you're gonna be beautiful today. And you know, here, let me hear. You know what I mean? Daddy daughter dances, where they put on a dress, and we showed them how because one thing for sure, two things for certain, every man, even a boy, every male is, when they have their daughters, they want them to be most beautiful. They want that they show them respect.
Yeah.
If they don't show nobody else respect in this world, they're gonna show their daughter respect.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's where it starts. Is okay. My dad showed me respect, so I know what respect looks like. You know what I mean? Because my dad took me to the daddy-daughter dances. My dad took me to the park. You see what I'm saying? My dad, you know what I mean, took me to Chuck E. Cheese in the movies. You know what I mean? And then when you get there, you get separate them. You know what I mean? Okay, you have certain stations where this station here is a spirituality station. So you might have Chioma. That might be at this station where she speaks in spirituality. And she's coming from the Torah, so she's pulling out a small lesson. She might give them just a small little piece of paper, or like maybe a couple quotes, how to raise a child. Boom, and give them some tips. And then the next station might be the next one right here below. Or she might just her station is for, all right, how do I talk to my daughter? Because some boys have older daughters. How do I talk to my daughter? How do I bond with her? How do I chastise my daughter the right way without putting fear in her heart to make her fear me? But just know there's respect and not fear. You know what I mean? And that's love.
Yeah.
Next station. Okay, now all the men might get together. Hey, if you guys need to know how to change a diaper, if you guys need to know how to bottle feed, if you guys need to know how to do CPR, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that helps us. It puts the pride back in the men. Okay, hey men, here's one station. You guys need jobs. For those, have certain job sites there where I need a job, because now the man's gonna put everything together. Okay, I need a job because I have something in front of me which I can now see, not mentally, not feeling, but I can see physically that this child needs to be taken care of. I need to get myself right. And then he can actually look around and see other men with their children and see other people in the same position as him. So now he doesn't feel helpless. Because that's the issue. I felt helpless having two daughters, and I looked around and I didn't see no one else with his two daughters trying to push it out when their mom wasn't working, and I'm just working by myself. You know what I mean? And I didn't see it, but having something like this, I can see it.
Absolutely.
And have another station where I'm fighting these legal battles. Okay? Well, here's some legal advice right here. You know what I mean? Different stuff like that. Having a different station and having your daughters, that right there will help so much, because now you're putting man code and how to address certain situations where no one cared about. No one cared to teach me. I didn't have no one teach me to show me how to change my daughter's diaper. Or hey, when your daughter gets to a certain age, she shouldn't be sitting on your lap. Or hey, go to your daughter's dances. Take your daughter to gymnastics, or different things like that. Like, we can help the community that way, just bringing them all to something that's very inexpensive and allowing everyone to see each other. That's how it becomes not a neighborhood but a community. And that's my, as you say, respond. Say it again.
Your call to action.
Yeah, call to
yes,
action.
That's your call to action.
Respond.
Yes.
That's my goal right there, is to have a daddy-daughter day. Started off like that.
So we're gonna make you the ambassador. So
start off as a bond. So yeah.
So then we will have a conversation after this, and I will be passing the torch to you to be the ambassador for this movement. Whatever assistance you need to get this off of the ground, I will make sure that our organization provides. This is definitely something that is great that you are in another state, because you can be the representation there. Because the thing about it is we have us to have representation everywhere in the United States. We need to expand this to the globe. It has to be. It was written that this movement, that this organization, that our organization, because it is our organization, we have us. Everything that we do, for everything that's put into this movement, comes out of this movement to serve the people. So definitely we'll be having further conversations about how we can do this. And there's no time to wait. I'm not saying, oh, we're going to do this next month. No, what is this about to be April? Yeah, we're not going to wait. We're not going to do this 3 months down the line. No, this is something that we can start doing now. Even if we just have one person and one family there, like you said, people move when there are other people moving. So it does take one person to take that step and make that step. And so we will sit down and plan on how we can do this. Like I said, it could be just something you and a group of people start off, and then it start expanding that your family and my family. You know, obviously don't invite no people who you know about that mess. And if they're about the mess, let them know before it starts. Like, look, and I promise you one thing that I learned: resist the devil and he will flee. If that scripture ain't real, that scripture is not. I mean, it can't lie. Resist the devil and he will flee. So as long as you're keeping love as the center, negativity won't come. This is where faith comes in. This is where belief in something comes in. You have to believe that there won't be any negativity, because as long as you keep yourself in check, then everything else can be checked. It's just like, as long as there's at least some good in something, evil can't win. You know, so it can't win. So this is the thing. So we'll definitely continue this and have conversations about how we can actually start implementing this. I will create flyers, digital flyers that I will, pass out on Facebook and Instagram and anywhere else where there is opportunity to reach somebody on a phone, because we have to deliver things where people are, and people are on their phones, and so we need to make sure we get this message out to people's phones and let them know, like, hey, well, we're gonna do something here in Atlanta. Oh, okay. Well, next Saturday we're gonna do a family fun day. And we don't have to rent a bouncy house or none of that stuff. We can just come out there and literally just be there, enjoying the moment with your family. There's nothing wrong with just sitting down and looking up and saying, look at creation, enjoying creation together. So thank you so much for that. I just watch. This is about to happen. I appreciate that. This is going to happen, and we are going to implement this before the end of the month. We have a food program. So this is me and my closing, just letting everybody know about everything that we have going on. We have a meals program that we're launching, and actually the first launch is going to be in May, but officially we'll start serving food on Saturdays in June. So we will be serving food. We are working out something now to be able to provide meals through the week, but we do need a building, and that's what we're working on, trying to locate a place that will allow us to use their building just to pass out the food through the weekday. So we will be working on that, but we will make sure. I believe, and I know, and I trust, and I know that we will have a building by June to ensure that the children can come pick up a meal. And if you need a ride here in Atlanta to get to the location where we'll be picking up and dropping off food, then let us know. We will make sure that we get the food to you, or we get you to the food, one of the two. So we have that meals program. We also have a tutoring program where we're tutoring parents. So I Learn Too. That's I Learn Too initiative. We are currently supporting parents with basic and advanced algebra. We are looking for additional volunteers. For example, if you are skilled in geometry, hey, sign up as a volunteer. And we will keep you on call whenever we have an inquiry or a need for geometry, for reading and math, all of those different sciences. If you are, or you do know or recognize that you have a strength in a particular area, sign up as a volunteer. We are a 501c3, so you will receive credit for your time through our organization. Also, we code too. I'm a woman coder. I definitely want to grow that movement and get together with other women who code, so that we can start teaching other women about coding, and teaching children about coding, and teaching children how to code, how to foster creativity and turn things that we think about, transform our creative thoughts into things that are tangible through technology. All, of course, serving the purpose of togetherness as well. We also feed the homeless. So if any of you guys are in Atlanta and want to assist us in feeding the homeless, or even want to expand We Have Us to your area and feed the homeless in your community, we will work together with getting you resources to make sure that you have the resources to feed the homeless in your community. So yes, we do work. We will do the research and get the information for you, so that you can start doing these things under our organization. Finally, we do clean the area. It's very important. Cleanliness is next to godliness, okay? So we need to make sure that we're keeping our areas clean. When you have an area that's clean, you have more motivation. You know, notice how when you go to certain areas, urban areas, it's very dirty. And then notice the mindset of the people around. They lack motivation. Well, there's no motivation because everything around them is chaotic. So our goal is to clean Atlanta. It's the Clean Atlanta initiative. We did our first cleanup on the 7th. We're doing another cleanup next Saturday. And our goal is to continue in this movement, keeping Atlanta clean, keeping urban areas clean, because when the area is cleaner, you will have more motivation. And it's not just enough to go out and cleaning, because some people are complaining that they go out and clean and it's dirty the next day. Well, are you going into these people's community and just cleaning to make them feel guilty or to make yourself feel good? No, you don't just go clean. You have to talk to people. You have to talk to people about the importance of making sure that things are clean. It's not enough to just go clean. Come on now. If you just go up and if you go clean your daughter's room without telling her why she's cleaning the room, she's going to keep making it mess up. She's not going to ever learn the value of why. So we have to start just doing things because it seems right. No, if you in this and your heart is in it, you have to put yourself in it. And that means you have to talk to people. You have to have conversations about why you want to keep the area clean. You know, bring facts to people, help people understand that, yeah, you know, when you have on a fresh new outfit, you feel different, you walk different. If you do the same thing with the community, people may walk and feel different. You may get a different result. It may not be such an aggressive place. So those are the things that we're working on. And if anyone has any additional ideas or things that you think would be a great way, again, to better the community from the inside, to have understanding so that we can then have overstanding, and then we have, most importantly, understanding, all of those things. Please feel free to share those. We want to hear from you. I thank every single person who took the time out of their Sunday to have these conversations. I just want to let you guys know why I choose to have these on Sundays, because Sunday is the day before Monday. When you enter into these type of conversations on a Sunday, you have more motivation through the week. That's why we chose to do this on Sunday, to prepare ourselves, to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we're saying, because it's not enough for us to get up here and have conversations. It is not enough. So we have to carry these conversations through our weeks and apply these things that we're discussing and how we approach people. Maybe we may look at a person differently just after having these conversations. So again, this is why we picked Sunday to have these conversations, so that we're better prepared for the week, and why we have these on Sundays. And again, thank you so much, Yaru. You've always been somebody who I can count on. I appreciate you. Thank you, Donald, for joining in. You know, you were just a breath of fresh air. You know, sometimes when a person enters, it's just something about their presence. His presence was so it was so necessary. And this is the best way I can describe it. It was just the balance that was necessary to complete this conversation and to make it whole. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Chandra, as usual. Thank you, my mommy, for joining into the conversation. I'm very appreciative for you. And stay tuned for our next topic. That information will be going out by the end of the week. And so we are looking for other nonprofits. Yaru, I know you mentioned the charter school. If you can get me in contact with that individual, I would appreciate it. I would like to bring them into the next conversation. At least this time, they will have adequate time to prepare for the conversation. And so please give me their contact so that they can be brought into the next conversation.
Yep, her, that charter school and the young lady who was 21.
Okay. Both of them, please don't forget.
She works diligently in her community. She has almost 112 children to her fullest capacity.
Okay.
That she gets all the inner city children, and she teaches them dance.
Okay.
And they even compete in different states and stuff like that. And she uses the money out of her own pocket and everything, and they're good. Like
well, see, the goal is so she doesn't have to keep using out of her own pocket. Again, like we have us as a nonprofit. We would appreciate donations because the donations go into community movements. It can go to other community movements. So the goal is that she doesn't have to keep using it out of her money. If she's doing this for the community should be supporting her with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the goal. Again, we have to stop, and with reason, you know. Yes, you should be cautious, but be cautious about the nonprofits that you give your money to. Don't just give your money to any nonprofit. Do the research, see what they're doing, see if they're about the action. When you see and you identify a nonprofit organization that's actually doing things, because a lot of people just walk around marching. You know, marching is not enough. So, you know, do some research about the different nonprofits, find out what they're doing and what their plans are. Or even organizations like the young lady you're speaking about, and give your money there. Just help. Even $5 would probably help her at least get a uniform for a kid. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely have them into the conversation, because I know people lack trust because they think everybody's out there trying to get their money, but sometimes you have to think about, well, where are you already spending your money? Is it bringing value to you? Is it actually helping you? I believe in investments. If I invest my money somewhere, it's because I'm getting return on my investment. I invest my money into my community because I have to live in this community. I have a daughter who has to live in this community, so that's why I invest my money there. So that's something that we're going to be having, a financial literacy class, having conversations about being more conscious about where we're spending our money. But that's a whole nother conversation. But like I said, Yaru, we will get together and have another conversation so we can just off of here, so that we can get together with those individuals, because I would love to hear from them. Just really would love to hear what they're doing. It's just so beautiful to see that there are people out here doing something instead of complaining, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I'm about to go eat dinner. I'll connect with you. Thank you again, everyone, and you especially. So everyone, take care. Love, peace, and soul. Remember, love conquers all. Liberation through education. So we have us. Okay, peace.